welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I'm Leah. So today we are going to be talking about leveling up in your 20s. I'm just going to be talking about some of the different things that you can do and different things that I am working on as well to help me level up in my 20s. If you guys know me, I'm into all things personal development and just trying to become the best version of myself that I can. So if that sounds like a little bit of you, make sure you keep watching, subscribe, and give this video a big thumbs up. Okay, so the first way to level up in your 20s is to choose your friends wisely. Friends are definitely such a big part of your life, and they definitely have a huge influence on you. That's why it's so important to be surrounded by the right people. There are so many different quotes on this that you might think sound a little bit cheesy, a little bit cliche, but I have to say I am all the way here for the cliche quotes. I definitely notice a difference in myself when I'm hanging around with people who I'm super inspired by. I feel like it just makes me a lot more motivated. Like when my friends talk about running their businesses and things like that, I just feel so inspired and so positive and like really uplifted. And also when I've had problems or I've been doubting myself or anything like that, it's those motivational friends who inspire me that I want to go to for a bit of a pick-me-up kind of thing. Like you just have to imagine if all your friends are really successful, positive, you're always really inspired by them, you're going to be like in this like echo chamber of positivity, good vibes and success. Whereas if your friends are negative, they don't really want to do much, they're kind of messing around, that is going to rub off on you whether you like it or not. And imagine if you want to start a new business or get a new job or anything like that, if you have a group of friends who are supportive, positive, and they're just all the way here for being successful, then they're going to be like, yeah, go on girl, like let's do it. Whereas if your friends are negative and they're not really pushing to do much in your life, they might be like, oh, like why are you doing that kind of thing. They might bring a bit of negativity to the situation and they're not going to really be there to motivate you. So it's definitely really important to spend your time with people who you're going to look at them, you're going to be like, I'm so inspired, I'm so motivated. It will make such a big difference. I think it's really common as well when you're trying to like level up and you're trying to do new things to kind of like outgrow certain people, which is completely fine. I did a video on outgrowing people like probably nearly 2 years ago now, so I'll link it down below. But yeah, it is really common to outgrow people, and it's not a case where you have to like necessarily like cut them off and be like, no, I'm never talking to you again, like I run a business now, don't ever talk to me. Unless they're completely toxic people, then cut them off. It might be a case if you find people who've got a similar mindset to you, they're doing similar things to you, and you're just like, okay, I'm gonna make an effort to spend more time with these people, and then the other people that I've outgrown, I'm gonna spend a little bit less time with them and spend more time with my inspiring friends. But definitely coming out of this pandemic, I'm gonna be looking for new networking events so I can find other young women in business. But honestly, there's so many girls on Instagram who are also running businesses, and we follow each other and message each other and things like that, and I'm like, I need to just invite these girls out and like have them as my crew. One quote that I really love as well is, if you're the smartest person in the room, you've outgrown the room. And I feel like this applies in friendships but also in business as well. So as many of you will know, I run a property business. When it comes to us like putting a team together, we need to be the least experienced. Like we need to have everybody else around us knowing way more than us in their chosen fields. Like we can't know more than them, otherwise what's the point? Like we need to be surrounded by people who know more than us so that we can just fully level up our business. And by being around people who know more than you, you're gonna get your knowledge up anyway. So just level up your circle, guys. It's honestly a win-win. So another way to level up in your 20s is to educate yourself. So I just think it's really important to expand and open your mind on a variety of topics. I think it definitely really adds to your character when you can kind of get involved and engaged in insightful conversations. I definitely think that educating yourself can be so beneficial in so many areas of your life. But I think when you've got the mindset of I can really figure things out for myself, then it's super beneficial. Like Marie Forleo says, everything is figure outable, and I think that is just a really good way to live your life, because you'll never feel like, oh, I don't know how to do this because of XYZ reason. It's like, no, you can figure it out, like, don't worry. I feel like nowadays we are in absolute information overload, and anything that you want information on, anything you want to learn about, the information is actually all out there. And I always say about this with property, like I get so many people ask me, how did you get started with property? How did you get into it? Let me tell you, yeah, anything you want to know, someone has written a book on it, someone has done a podcast on it, someone has done a YouTube video on it. Like there is honestly just so many places to find information nowadays. I just feel like nowadays, whatever you want to learn about, I'm sure there's a book about it, there's podcasts about it. There is so many ways that you can get different information. Obviously as well, guys, it doesn't have to be property. It can be whatever you're interested in. I'm sure there is information on it. Google's free, YouTube's free, podcasts are free. Like honestly, nowadays I feel like there's no excuses to not be educated on things because there is so much information out there. Like you've just got to look for it. Like I just feel like whatever you're interested in, just go and learn more about it. Like there's no harm in that. And also as well, my first point was about choosing your friends wisely. And I feel like if you're reading books, listening to podcasts and interviews by successful people, then you're still kind of like taking on their ideas and taking on their mindset and things like that. So it's like they're still kind of like rubbing off on you, and you can learn from them and get educated from them and their experiences and their mistakes and things like that. Like honestly, we are just spoiled. There is so much information out there. Honestly, we are spoiled. I just think it's really great to educate yourself and really open your mind up, you know? One of my favorite YouTube channels that I make an effort to watch every day is called Jubilee. And their slogan is feel more, think more, and see more in others. Their videos are really great because you can learn from people who are completely different to you. And like, these are people that you might never have a conversation with, but honestly, watching a video and hearing them talk about their experiences and their opinions on different things, it's just literally so insightful. So they have a series on their channel called Middle Ground, which is my absolute favorite, and they basically get two groups of people with completely opposing views to come together, have a conversation and see if they can find a middle ground. So it might be like atheists versus Christians, Trump supporters versus non-Trump supporters and things like that, and everyone just like sits down, has a conversation, and they just all learn from each other. But I find it so insightful. I feel like it's definitely so easy to be like in an echo chamber where everybody agrees with you and everybody agrees with your point of view kind of thing, but it is so important to listen to people who have opposing views to you, even though you might not like it. But yeah, it's definitely so important. Okay, so the next way to level up in your 20s is to try new things, explore your passions, but don't put too much pressure on yourself to find the one passion and the one purpose. So I, for the last 4 years, had been putting so much pressure on myself of like, I need to find the one thing that I'm like super passionate about, and it's gonna make me money and it's gonna make me feel fulfilled in so many different ways, and it's gonna be the best thing ever, and it's like my life's mission kind of thing. Like I'd really been putting pressure on myself to feel like I needed to have it all figured out, which I think is just so ridiculous now, because I'm like, I was so young, like what the hell? And then I just came to a realization and accepted the fact that I'm just a multi-passionate person, and there's so many things that I enjoy in life. So for example, property, renovations, creating content, health and fitness, and I would say that these are all my passions and they're all things that bring me so much joy. And obviously some of them I can monetize, so obviously I've monetized property and monetized creating content, but then there's other things that I don't monetize and they're just there for fun. So say for example health and fitness, like at the minute I'm super into pole. I really love it. I've spoken about it on my channel like so many times. That is definitely a passion that I have, and it's not monetized and it doesn't matter, but I just feel like your 20s are for exploring and trying out new avenues and saying, okay, I'm going to try a little bit of this. Do I like it? Oh yeah, I really enjoy it. I'm going to do more of it. Or let me try something else. Do I like it? No, I don't. We don't need to do that again. Just try things out, go crazy. Don't worry about what people think. Just like do whatever you want. I wish that someone would just go back and tell me like I don't need to cry because I don't have my entire like life figured out. So don't waste your time feeling like I need to have every single little thing figured out. I know what I'm doing. I'm creating a 5-year plan and I'm just going to go and like smash it all. Like just explore new things, see how you feel when you do things. Like, does it feel good? If it feels good, then do more of it, but don't put yourself under so much pressure, because it's honestly not worth it. The next way to level up in your 20s is to take riskier decisions. So obviously I can't speak on behalf of everyone's personal circumstances. I know we're all different, but I definitely feel like your 20s is the best time to take risks. I definitely feel like taking risks is a lot easier when you're young because you are young enough to recover from the mistakes. So let's say for example you wanted to start a business and you're only 21. Even if things went awfully for 5 years, so for 5 years you're making mistakes, everything's going wrong, you have to imagine that in 5 years time you'll only be 26. Like you're literally still young. So your 20s is definitely the best time to be taking the risky decisions because you're still young enough to recover from the mistakes. And as well, if you started the business at 21, made mistakes for 5 years, you've now got all the lessons from the mistakes that you've made. Like A lot of you guys will know, I don't know why I talk about this in every video, but a lot of you guys will know that I used to have a serviced accommodation business and then we ended up giving it up. But honestly, we learned so much from doing that business because so many things went wrong, and like that's what we learned from, and now we can like apply it later on in life. Do you know what I mean? So take the risky decisions, man, just go for it. But also, obviously I can't speak on everybody's personal circumstances. Obviously it's different for everyone, but typically you tend to have less responsibilities, which makes it easier to make risky decisions. So say for example, if you're thinking of starting a business, but you've got kids, a mortgage, a husband, all of these things that you have to think about before you maybe put like your life savings into starting the business. Whereas when you're young and it's kind of like, man, like what have you got to lose kind of thing. So make the risky decisions while you're young, and yeah, just get it out of the way, man. And it's just definitely a really good time to like push yourself out of your comfort zone, like move cities. So like a lot of you guys will know that I moved to Birmingham from my small town when I was 20, and I was just like, no, I want to move to a bigger city. Travel alone, that is definitely something that as soon as I can, solo travel is happening. Start a business, start investing. There's just so many decisions that have high risk but high reward, and your 20s is a good time to start. So traveling is another great way to level up in your 20s. I've been on many of holidays in my lifetime, and traveling is just amazing, man. It just really opens your eyes and your mind up to the wider world. One thing that I'm super looking forward to, as I'm sure many of you are looking forward to once this pandemic is over, is just traveling. Like we used to go on holiday quite a bit, and I'm just like so missing it because you just learn so much. And I've been to so many like beautiful places in my lifetime, and I'm just like, wow, there is like so much in the world. Like there is just honestly so much in the world. You can just learn from different cultures, learn from different people. There's just so much out there. Like you really have to travel. I don't know how to describe it, but I feel like traveling just makes the world seem bigger and like your hometown seem smaller. Like I'm from like a pretty small town in Shropshire, and I definitely feel like once you like start traveling, it just opens your eyes so much, and it's like, wow, there's really like great things out in this world. Like why am I just in this small town? So yeah, definitely start traveling, guys. And as I mentioned before, solo travel is 100% something that I am doing. Like since we've been in this pandemic, I'm like, I just want to travel as much as I can. So solo travel is coming soon, guys. You'll be seeing it on my channel. I want to do like a mixture of like long holidays and short city breaks as well, but yeah, you guys will see it on my channel as I go. But also I feel like traveling creates the best memories ever. Like my best memories with my family are definitely when we've been on holiday. Like there's just been so many good holidays that we've had, like just me, mom and dad, but then also with like my aunties as well. Like yeah, traveling creates like amazing memories, and just travel, guys. Okay, so the next way to level up in your 20s is to get your finances in order. It's just really good to develop good habits with money, I feel, in your 20s to just really set you up for the future. So start learning how to budget and sticking to it. So I personally do the 50-30-20 rule. There's probably so many videos on it, but yeah, that's what I do and that works for me. And that just means that I'm budgeting all of my bills, but I've still got money to have fun, but then I've still got money going into savings. So yeah, I feel like it's a good all-round budgeting method. And also another thing it's good to get into the habit of doing is putting money aside, because you never know what might happen. Like, does anybody else feel like adult life is full of unexpected expenses, and it's like, is this really what we signed up for? Like, you know, when you're a kid and you're like, oh, I can't wait to be older, and then you get here and it's like, is this a joke? Is this actually a joke? So yeah, life can be full of unexpected expenses. Like you honestly don't know what might happen. Your car might break down and it's like, how are you gonna pay for that? You never know what might happen in this adult life. But also it's just good to like, you know, get into the habit of not spending every single thing that you earn every month. And also get into the habit of checking your credit score and don't ruin it. I have a video all about credit scores which you can check out. But yeah, guys, don't ruin your credit, because it's super important for when you want to buy important things like a house. Also, if you're having money issues, don't feel ashamed, don't panic. There is always help that you can get out there. I recently read the book Black Girl Finance, which was so good. It goes over so many different topics when it comes to personal finances, investing, assets, pretty much everything you need to kind of like get you on the right track. Definitely check out the book. I'll leave it linked down below. But yeah, never feel ashamed or embarrassed about your finance situation. Like there is always a way out. and you'll be fine. Another great thing you can do financially is get into investing. Investing is definitely one of those things where it's better to get into it sooner rather than later, and also I feel like it's one of those things where people say like, oh, I wish I did it sooner, because the sooner you get into it the better. So obviously I've mentioned before that I invest in property, and this is a great way to build monthly cash flow, and also property goes up in value over time, so the longer you have it the better really. Like there's this really common quote when it comes to investing, and especially in property, and it's about how the best time to invest was X amount of years ago, but the second best time to invest is today. So get into it as soon as you can, basically. And property is also a great way of building generational wealth. Super important. So yeah, but yeah, there are so many different things that you can invest in. It's just that property is my bag, but obviously there's a stock market which I don't really know too much about, so I'm not going to come and talk about it as if I do. So yeah, but I'm sure there's plenty of videos on it. And also I'm not saying that there's no risks involved with investing, but nowadays there is so much information out there which should help reduce the risks. But yeah guys, honestly, one thing that I can't stress enough is that the information is all out there. Please do not ever think that when it comes to investing, like, people keep it hush hush. Like, I feel like nowadays people really keep it 100, and there is so much that you can learn out there. Okay, so my next tip for leveling up in your 20s is to learn to focus on yourself and stop being so invested in what other people are doing and how they live their lives. I've mentioned before in previous videos how I'm very selective with who I follow on social media and like the type of information that I'm actually consuming. There's certain stuff on social media that I don't want to see. There's just people's lives that I don't care for. And like I try to stick by the rule of like, I don't follow someone on social media unless I'd want to have a conversation with them in person. If not, then like, why do I need to see what you're doing with your lives? Like, why? So yeah, I definitely try to be selective with who I follow on social media, like in particular Instagram. So it's kind of like, unless you're like inspiring me or your page is like a motivational page, or like I follow a lot of like self-care pages and like therapy pages, like unless you're kind of on that vibe, it's like, how much do I care? Do you know what I mean? Like, do I need to be following this? Do I need to be invested in this? So like, let's say for example with the blogs, I find them so negative, and honestly, I didn't even follow them for that long, like maybe like 6 weeks or so. But I was like, this is just such a negative space, and like the comments are so negative, and I'm just like, I'm not really here to be seeing this. Like, I'm waking up and I'm seeing about this influencer did that, and this celebrity did this, and this influencer did that. And I'm like, first of all, I didn't even know who these people were before I was following the Shade Borough. So why have you now put me onto these people who are completely irrelevant to my life? And I was like, nah, the blogs actually need to go. Like, why are you putting me onto such negativity? Why am I now looking into this person's life? Like, no, like just go. Like, I'm hearing gossip about people I don't know, I don't care for. They don't know who I am, and I'm like, why is this relevant to my life? Like, why is this here? And as well, like when you're waiting for the updates and it's like, oh, what's this person gonna say, what's that person gonna say? It's just like, no, like who's got time for that? Like, is it paying my bills? Is reading the Shade Borough paying my bills? No, then why am I there? So yeah, I would definitely say be mindful about the people you're following and what you're consuming. It can definitely be super negative and just like a big energy drain, really. I would also say don't waste your time comparing yourself to people because of social media, which I do really love social media, I'll be honest, but because of social media, it's kind of like exposed us to so many people that we would have never met before. And it's just so easy to look at people and think, oh, she's only 24 and she's been able to do this, and oh, she's 21 and she's been able to do this and that. And like we get into this cycle of like comparing ourselves with them, and we're like, oh, what am I doing? Like, I'm not good enough kind of thing. But honestly, let me tell you, it's the biggest waste of time ever, because comparison never ends. So you might be looking at that person thinking, oh, she's got this, she's got that, she's got that. But they could be looking at you thinking, well, she's got that, she's got that, she's got that. So it's just a complete waste of time, because you want what they've got and they want what you've got, but you just need to be happy with what you've both got instead of looking over there and being like, oh, is the grass greener over there? Like, no. But also, I do really believe that everyone has such a different path in life, and if you see someone over there being successful and doing what you want to do, like, just be happy for them and your time will come. Like, you don't need to look at them and be like, oh, how have they done it so quickly, and how have they done X, Y, and Z? Because for one, you don't really know the full backstory of anybody's life, so there's no point comparing yourselves. And two, you just have to have faith that your time will come and everything will work out perfectly for you. And also another thing, guys, is to just stop caring what other people think. Like, just don't let other people's opinions hold you back. Like, say for example, if you want to start a new business, don't let like the negative opinions of people stop you from doing what you want to do. Like, just don't listen to them, just you do you, babes. Because what you tend to find is people are actually projecting. So if someone says to you like, oh, your new business idea isn't going to work out, it's probably because they feel insecure and they feel like it wouldn't work out for them. So you just need to block out negative noise and just do you. Don't let other people stop you from living your best life. Okay, so my next tip is to learn how to look after yourself and put in place different self-care practices which are going to help you physically and mentally. Self-care is honestly so important for everyone because it makes you feel good, and honestly it's going to be different for everybody. So self-care for one person might be completely different for another person, which is fine because it's all about the self. I personally have so many different little self-care habits which help me feel good, and I feel like it helps me avoid being like burnt out. So one of my favorite habits, which I recently did a video on, is journaling. So I literally love journaling. I do it every single morning. I just write down all of my thoughts. You can watch the video to like learn more about it. But yeah, that is definitely something that helps reduce my stress and anxiety levels, and I just feel so good for it. It's something that I literally cannot live without now. And it's just something that's become so important for my mental health. It's also really important in life to have boundaries and think about what you will and what you won't tolerate from other people and from yourself. It's really important to have boundaries in place to make you feel good. Another thing that I started this year for my mental health is actually therapy, and therapy is really good for self-awareness, and I don't know, it just makes me think about like why I do certain things, and it's good to be able to talk about different things with my therapist and she can offer advice and things like that. And she does definitely help me feel better and have a different perspective on certain situations. I actually had a therapy session yesterday, and I'm not gonna lie guys, like therapy is tough. Like I was literally crying the whole session, but it was essential. I needed to get it off my chest as well. So yeah, therapy can be tough, but I do think it is really good for self-awareness, can be good for inner child healing if you've had things happen in your childhood, any childhood traumas and PTSD. It's good to talk about it. Well, I have found it beneficial to talk about it, so yeah. One of my other self-care practices is exercising. This makes me feel good physically, but also mentally as well. My head just feels a lot clearer after I exercise. It's something that I just have to do. So my favorite form of exercise, as I've mentioned before and mentioned in a lot of videos, is pole. I don't know what it is about pole, but I just feel so good when I do it. I feel like it just releases so many endorphins, and I'm just literally buzzing after pole. Like, it's just the type of thing where I really enjoy the process of it. I definitely think it makes a big difference when you're enjoying the process of a workout as opposed to just like waiting for the results kind of thing. So yeah. So guys, those are my different tips and different ways that you can level up in your 20s. Let me know what you guys are going to be taking on board. Also guys, comment down below any video suggestions. I'd love to hear from you guys. But thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate it as always, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Always protection. Lady.